Welcome back to Fox Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the first episode of the series About Time, released in the year 2018. CHOI MIKA is a young and aspiring musical actress whose only aim in life is to star in a musical drama. In the opening scene, she is traveling in a bus humming to a song. On the same highway, an older couple is driving to meet their kids. They are visibly excited as they playfully argue with each other. It is also the husband's birthday, which makes the occasion even more special. When he is distracted, they almost crash into a vehicle coming from the opposite direction. The commotion causes a series of cars to collide with each other. One of them flips and crashes another car. All other vehicles, including the bus, stop in their tracks to avoid getting into the crash zone. A while later, the police and paramedics arrive and start rescuing people. Mika and the passengers get off the bus to witness the aftermath. As Mika walks through the accident zone, she sees a timer in people's faces. She has the unique ability to see the lifespans of people around her. Most would think that the power is a blessing, but it is almost useless because she cannot stop the deaths no matter what. She comes across the couple from earlier who are thankfully not hurt. The wife has a minor injury in her hand that the husband is worried about. Mika gives her a band-aid and notices that the husband has only a minute left to live. As they talk, he gets a heart attack and falls to the ground. The wife tries calling the paramedic, but Mika stops her. Knowing that he cannot be saved, she asks the woman to be with her husband in the last seconds of his life. The woman cries, and the man says that he loves her and dies in her arms. After the death, Mika looks at her own wrist and sees that she has 167 days left to live. Because she knows when she is going to die, Mika wants to make the best of the little time she has. That is the main reason why she auditions for musical shows even after being rejected by many. Sometime later, she visits her ally So-nyo in the hospital. The two have always been close to each other. Mika gives her vitamins, medicines, and a lipstick that So-nyo is the most excited about. She tells her about a man named Mr. Park, who she has been dating since yesterday. Mika does her makeup, getting her ready for a date before Mr. Park arrives. On meeting him, she notices that he only has 67 days to live, while So-nyo still has 2 years. She feels bad for both of them, but doesn't say anything to ruin their mood. After the meeting, she has to rush to audition for a musical. Mika has prepared for the role for weeks and is confident she will be selected this time. At the same hospital, the son of a wealthy businessman, Lee Do-ha, is consulting a doctor about his anxiety. Do-ha's doctor is also his childhood best friend, Sung-bin, who knows him well. He comments that Do-ha's anxiety disorder is causing him difficulty to do simple tasks. He advises him to drive home so he can practice being independent. The doctor fidgets with a pencil, which makes Do-ha anxious and reminds him of a time he rushed to the hospital to see a loved one. After meeting with him, Do-ha asks his secretary Sung-bin to take a taxi, wanting to drive the car by himself. However, when he starts it, he panics because of his illness. He looks at a pedal floating in the air, which calms him down somehow. Suddenly, a car behind him honks its horn, asking him to hurry. Just when he backs the car, Mika appears on his way and is hit. He quickly gets out to check if she is fine. Instead of apologizing, he blames her for being careless. Mika doesn't back down and calls him out for driving carelessly. They get into an argument, but Mika has to get to the audition quickly, so tries to walk away. However, Do-ha is too paranoid to let her go without getting her checked. She thinks that if she doesn't get well later, she will file a case against him and make him pay more money. Mika assures him that she won't do anything like that, but Do-ha insists. He even gets a wheelchair from a staff member and forcefully makes her sit on it. The doctor bandages her ankle for a minor fracture and lets them go. Mika rushes outside only to see that it has started to rain. She asks Do-ha for a ride to the theater, but he refuses. Still, she gets inside the car and orders him to drive, refusing to leave even when threatened. At last, Do-ha accepts defeat and lets her drive to her destination while he sits on the passenger side. Since Mika has no fear of dying, she drives carelessly, which doesn't help Do-ha's anxiety. She reaches the theater and leaves after thanking him. However, while picking up her file, she accidentally brings the car key with her. Inside, it's almost her turn to audition. She realizes that she brought the key but decides to hand it back after the audition. She looks at her timer, which now only has 104 days left. When Do-ha realizes she has taken the keys, he follows behind her and ends up in the auditorium. Many great singers and dancers perform their best, but the guest judge, Jae-yu, rejects them all. He is very particular about what he wants from the actors and doesn't compromise even a little bit. When it is Mika's turn, she dances and sings a beautiful song about childhood love. Do-ha watches her from the audience and is impressed by her skills. Even the judges seem to like her, but Jae-yu is critical as always. When she finishes, he compliments her voice but claims it is obvious from her acting that she has never been in love. Since the musical is about a girl's first love, he rejects her. Mika, however, doesn't give up that easily. She asks him to give her a last chance to prove herself. Impressed by her courage, Jae-yu agrees and gives her a second task. She has to try to seduce the audience, thinking that they are her partner in 30 seconds. Mika panics and scans the audience. When her eyes land on Do-ha, she rushes to him and kisses him. Still, Jae-yu compliments her bravery but says that she lacks passion for love. In the meantime, Do-ha is left stunned because of the kiss. As Mika is leaving the premises, he accuses her of stealing his key and assaulting him. Mika is too heartbroken to argue, so she simply hands him the key, apologizes, and leaves. Do-ha sees her cry and feels bad for yelling at her. At night, Mika meets her best friend, Sung-hee, who is the only person who knows about her gift other than Mika herself. She mentions the timer and claims that Mika could stay home on the day of her death and be very careful. A flashback shows us the time Mika tried to save a little girl by stopping a truck from hitting her, but she died by choking on a candy. Similarly, she has tried to prevent people from dying several times, but every single time, death has proven to be inevitable. The best friends sing together, trying to enjoy the moments until they last. Somewhere else, Do-ha has organized a romantic date with his girlfriend. But even while waiting for her, he cannot get the thought of Mika out of his head. His girlfriend, Beth, is the daughter of a wealthy businessman. Their relationship was arranged by their parents because of their complementary status. As they talk, Do-ha brings up the topic of marriage and proposes to her. It is not the first time he has asked her the question. Beth accepts the ring every time but says that he is still missing something. She is in love with him, but he has never shown her affection as a boyfriend should. Hence, she is keeping herself from marrying him until he also falls for her. Following the date, they have dinner with Do-ha's family that consists of his arrogant father, Seon-moon, his brother, Do-bin, and his innocent sister-in-law, Hye-young. Do-ha is also the president of the cultural foundation MK Entertainment. His father doesn't approve of Do-ha working in his company and wants him to join their family business. However, Do-ha is persistent to achieve his dreams. He is even going to China the next day to meet a potential investor. After dinner, his brother informs him that his potential investor, Zhang, is crazy about extreme sports, so he might have to participate in them if he wants to get on Zhang's good side. Do-ha, who gets anxious trying to drive a car, doesn't like the idea, but he doesn't want to ask his father for help. The next morning, Mika also gets an offer for a scuba guide gig in China. She has breakfast with her mother and younger brother before leaving. Do-ha, with his friend and secretary, lands in China right before Mika. They go their separate ways, but end up staying at the same villa. Do-ha is hurt because Zhang didn't come to welcome him in the hotel. He senses that the man is not really interested in investing in a musical he is about to organize. However, he is hopeful that he can change his mind. The secretary informs him that Zhen has planned for them to go scuba diving the next day. Do-ha is nervous, but he is willing to take the risk for his dream. That evening, Mika and her boss drink to celebrate her arrival. By the end of the night, she is completely drunk, sitting by the pool and singing Baby Shark. Do-ha finds her there and is surprised to have met her again. As they chat, Mika almost falls into the pool, but he saves her at the last second. She passes out right after, so he has to take her to his room for the night. The next morning, Mika wakes up in his bed but cannot remember what happened after she fell unconscious. Embarrassed, she runs away before Do-ha can see her. Meanwhile, Do-ha is furious when informed that Zhen refused to meet him that day because he is entertaining some guests. He doesn't back down and goes to confront Zhen in the restaurant he's in. At first, the man dismisses Do-ha entirely, claiming that he doesn't like to mix work and pleasure. But then Beth arrives at the restaurant. It turns out that she and Zhen studied together in college. Out of respect for her, he invites Do-ha to lunch. Beth smugly asks her boyfriend to be humble because she has amazing connections. Later, the group goes to scuba dive where Do-ha again comes across Mika, who is working as a guide. He corners her and calls her out for giving him trouble when drunk. Only then she remembers that he had to carry her to the room last night. Still, Mika pretends to not know what he is talking about to avoid the subject. When they get to the middle of the ocean, they put on their suits and get ready to dive. Mika leads them in and gives them a tour. After a few minutes of swimming with the marine life, she leads everyone back up. Do-ha is behind everyone, but he gives her a thumbs up, claiming that he can swim upwards on his own. However, as soon as she turns her back, he gets a panic attack and cannot swim. All others get to the boat and wait for him to emerge, but he never does. Mika quickly dives back in and finds him at the bottom. On seeing her, he gains courage and holds her hand. They share 2 tubes from the oxygen tank and swim upwards while still holding hands. Just then, Mika gets a look at her wrist and notices that her timer has frozen. All of a sudden, she wakes up inside the boat, realizing that the last part was a dream. She checks her timer again, which is now working normally. Do-ha barges into the room at the very moment. As he does, the timer stops at 100 days, 2 hours, and 2 minutes. Mika is beyond surprised as she stares at him and back at her wrist. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.